What is going on, YouTube? PPS back. It is past the prop Monday edition. We're coming at you guys. 7-game NBA slate. We're ready to roll today. We're ready to roll. Joined as always by my guy Stu. How you doing, my man?
I'm not doing too good. I'm not doing too good at all. As you can see behind me with this Washington gear, 30 minutes before we go live, I get to watch my team commit one of the worst trades I've seen over the last couple seasons. One of my favorite players for a guy that's about to get cut. So I'm going to power through that pain, right? I'm going to kind of quell that anger. I didn't quite get enough time before the show to send out all my angry tweets. So I'll save that for after the show. And we've got a great guest today. Actually, one of our first guests that we had on the show over a year ago. So I'm going to try to calm it down a little bit. Just stick to the teams that are playing today.
Yeah, Austin, welcome, man. Happy to have you back. What has it been? I bet you it's been maybe like 8 months. It's been a while since we got you back on here, but we're happy to have you. And obviously things have been going pretty well for you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys welcoming me back. I'm obviously happy to be here. Yeah, I don't know when the last time I was there or on the show, but I know I think Monotone was angry about the Wizards then. He'll be angry about them today and angry about them for the next 100 years. So that's just life as a Wizards fan, I guess.
Well, actually, I'm a Lakers fan. I was born and raised in LA.
Yeah,
This whole thing behind me, the Nationals hat right there, it's all fake. I'm from LA. I'm a huge LeBron guy. I love Anthony Davis. So that's just what we're going to stick with from now on. And, yeah, we'll just keep moving.
All right. I believe you.
Next thing you're going to know is he's going to flip the Washington thing over, make it an M. He is now a Grizzlies guy. It is now an M. We're good to go. Yeah, Jaws' his favorite player. I'm sure you love Dylan Brooks and that Shannon Sharp stuff, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Spoiler, I think he's betting on Ja a little bit later on in the video.
Oh, yeah. See, this is all on purpose. We plan all this stuff. We go over it. A little glimpse into what's behind the huge production value that is past the prop.
Yeah, the production value of me typing the stuff up back here in the background. So, yeah, calling our shot. Make sure we talk about your little crazy little run there, huh? I mean, stuff has been nuts, dude. I've been seeing your tweets, everything kind of pop off. How's that been? How's that run been? That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. The community is definitely it's cool to see all the community aspect. Like, obviously, it sucks that weren't able to complete the 10-day challenge, and maybe we'll start it up soon. I don't know. Maybe people have to check out maybe a little bit later on today. Maybe they'll get an announcement. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and it's cool to see a bunch of other people trying the challenge. Like, it's tough. I'll give those people my words of advice. Good luck. It's not as easy as it might have seemed. Trying to find some things to make it easier, but it's been a lot of fun, and it's cool to see all the community rally around, and it's cool to see a bunch of new followers come in. But I think the biggest thing is I think the community grew as a whole, which is probably the biggest thing, because we're all as tough, as we all grow together, kind of. So more people that come into the community, the better for everyone.
Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, dude, I know. Steph Diggs got me too. He got me bad. He burned me bad yesterday, dude. Oh my God, dude. I needed him to get either 60 yards or 6 catches, and he would have been finishing off some of my other things in there. It was just, then he gets mad at Allen out there. I'm like, dude, I'm just happy you guys lost. If you're going to perform and lose for me like that, you better lose on the field too. So yeah, that was tough. I think a lot of people got burned by Mr. Diggs yesterday.
Yeah, 100%. The only silver lining was at least Diggs and my Bills leg didn't hit. If it was just like one or the other, I would have been really, really upset. But 2 of them didn't hit. I can't be too mad. Just wasn't the right reads, and got to be able to walk away with it at the end of the day. It was only $10, right? At least that's what I tried to tell myself. Although it was $2,500, but that's life. Show goes on.
All right, let's take a look at the chat here quick. We'll see who's all in here joining us right away here. We got Kevin. We got Ryan in here. We got Boomer Nation. Andrew popping in. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you for popping in with us, my guy. We got Jay. Quinn. Yeah, you really had to put salt on that wound for our guy Stu here. You're pushing it in there pretty bad on him. I know Rui was one of your guys there, so unfortunate. There we got Andrew kind of talking. He wanted the Suns to get Rui. That would have been a nice pickup too. That would have been a good spot for him. I know they're just beat up, dude. They're so hurt. That team is so beat up right now. Bismack Biyombo getting that start last night, Stu. I know you saw that. I know you saw Bismack. We got Brian in here and then Chase as well. Thank you guys for all tuning in right away. First couple minutes, just kind of shooting the shit here a little bit and getting you guys all ready. Want to give my shout out to Josh Hart. That boy is a man, dude. He's my guy. Thank you for grabbing that last rebound with like eight seconds left for absolutely no reason and getting that double for us and coming through. So had to give a shout out to Josh Hart because he's the absolute man.
Yeah, no, I mean, congrats to you. Obviously, that $6,300 DFS takedown yesterday. The whole world watching NFL, but my guy PPS out here grinding that NBA DFS lineup. So that was dope. Obviously, got to get the jersey to commemorate the player. I think everyone in gambling Twitter knows that's kind of like an honor, right? Last year for me, it was Hunter Renfrow. We came on here, we bet on him every week. You get the jersey. It's the same kind of thing right here. So huge shout out. I know Josh Hart's watching right now. We love you, buddy. Well, I know you can't talk about gambling, but you can come on anytime you like. So great stuff, man. Good vibe. I mean, the vibes were good until about 30 minutes ago. You guys have good vibes, me not so much, but I'm a Lakers fan, so I'm happy.
Yeah, no, he's been good to us. But yeah, dude, it was nuts because there was like literally, it was me and one other guy with like 2 minutes left, and he had LeBron and Thomas Bryant. So Thomas Bryant decides he's all world now. He's like the best player ever. Drops 31 and 15. And I'm like, what is going on, dude? And I had Hart, Simons, and Schroeder. And LeBron, being the team guy that he is, let Dennis Schroeder shoot the free throws at the end of the game. So shout out LeBron because he let Schroeder get 4 extra points because Schroeder, I guess, shoots 90% from the line. So shout out to LeBron for being a team guy there. We love that here. All right. Let's Stu, I'll kick it to you first. What's the plasma screen game for today, man? Don't steal mine. I know you're gonna.
Yeah, well, for me, I got to go obvious. Let's go Grizzlies Kings right here. The late night hammer, as we like to call it on this show. I mean, it feels like the totals get bigger and bigger every week, right? We come on this show, we're like 230. Whoa. And then 235. Now we're at 245 right here. I don't think there's a better way to end the night than just nonstop offense. So sign me up for that late night hammer tonight.
Austin, is there a game? We call it the plasma screen game on the show here. Is there a game on this slate that you can't go without watching, right? You got to have either some action on it. You got to be watching it. It's just a good game of basketball. I mean, we like the shitty teams with no defense and just running up and down the court. But is there a spot you're looking at tonight or a game that you want to watch?
Stu picked a good one. Memphis Grizzlies Kings is a pretty decent one. I don't hate the Hawks Bulls matchup. That's on NBA TV. I see it's got a one. It's a pick 'em and it's high over under at 239, which I honestly think is pretty high. But I think they set those super high for a reason. So wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of points out of that game from Trae Young, the Murray, DeRozan, Levine. So that might be a pretty good game to same game parlay target because I don't think either of those teams plays much defense these days.
Yeah, no, that was
and that starts at 8. So you can watch that at 8, and then you can watch the Grizzlies game at 10:30. Simple.
Yeah. I thought Stu was going to steal that one from me, but it's all right. Hey, you're the guest. I will go over to Houston. I like that Houston Rockets game. You guys know I am a fan of how the Houston Rockets play. I think they've lost 14 straight games, but hey, they're always in a fun game. You ain't going to see a 95-100 game. That might be by the end of the third quarter. That is like their scores at the end of the third, and then they lose by 30 in the fourth. So they're good for props. I absolutely love that one. We like to see points and very, very minimal defense. I think Edwards just dropped 44 on him like 2 days ago. Now he has to play him again. So I'm sure that's a tasty matchup for him. But one of the games we didn't talk about was the Spurs game. I will kick it over to you, Austin, to start us off with our props for today. Kicking it over to the Spurs and Mr. Jakob.
Yeah, so I really like Jakob Poeltl today, over 12.5 points. It was 11.5 this morning, but naturally I gave it out on my morning show and it got boosted to 12.5. That's the nature that I live with these days. But Poeltl obviously on the trade blocks, so the Spurs kind of have incentive to play him. You obviously want to play a guy that you're probably going to trade, and the Spurs aren't obviously making the playoffs this year. That's kind of foregone conclusion. So Poeltl's played pretty well the last 6 games. I mean, he's scored in the double digits in 5 of those 6. So it's right or hovering around 11, 12, 13. The last time he played the Blazers, you dropped a 31 piece on him. Now, I don't think Poeltl scores 31 tonight, and if he does, then I guess I look like a genius. But at the end of the day, centers against this Blazers team score points. You saw Thomas Bryant last night. Scored 31 against them. And while sorry to give you PTSD, but it worked out for you. Now, granted, Poeltl's not necessarily Thomas Bryant. Bryant knocks down more jump shots, but Poeltl shoots all high-quality shots, all at the rim. Yusuf Nurkic isn't the greatest defender. And I looked at 19 of the last 25 centers that got at least 20 minutes against this Blazers team, at least scored 12 points. So they're getting all close to the line. The people that went under are like the Dwight Powells of the world. And Those guys don't shoot at all. And I think Pearl will be a little bit aggressive, scored 13 or more in his last 4 against the Blazers. So look, I'll ride with Pearl. It's going to be high scoring, not a lot of defense. Give me Jakob.
And hey, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I think it's I'm not the biggest trends guy in the world, but I think it's a pretty clear trend. These European centers do really like playing against each other, right? That's kind of like a big thing, maybe a little start on their schedule right there. And like you said, Nurkic is obviously not a rim protector that anybody is particularly scared of. So we love Pirtle on this show. This is a guy, like you said, he takes those high quality shots. He's right at the rim. He's never trying to do too much. He's just doing his job down there. So I'm definitely going to be tailing you right here.
Yeah, and I like that he can get into foul trouble here and there, but it's not like we need him for, if you had a high line of like 19.5, you can't avoid foul trouble. But a guy like him could go out there and score 12 in the first quarter. Like he could easily hit this pretty easily. So I'm rooting for him. Hopefully he shows up against Nurkic. You never really know. The Spurs are a weird team to bet on this year.
Yeah, one thing I do want to mention is obviously I was pretty invested in that game last night. Drew Eubanks closed that game. And if we have Pirtle facing Eubanks, I'll take that all day. Eubanks is not down there to play defense. He's out there to stretch the floor, hit those outside jump shots. I was really surprised. I don't even know if I saw Nurkic finish like the last 6 or 7 minutes. He was not even on the floor because his defense was so bad. So we could maybe see him get played off the floor again. And I mean, Eubanks is not all defensive team or anywhere close to it. So I love this spot. I'm a big Jakob guy. I liked betting him early on in the season. And I liked him a lot last year with DeJounte helping him out there a little bit too, but he's been great this year. And I liked what you talked about with the trade. I think that's huge. I just saw it right when I saw Rui, and then I saw Pirtle's stuff right underneath it. And they were talking about that as a possible trade. So I think that's a great insight for that spot for sure. Stu, heading to you here. Our guy, Mr. Sengun.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite plays of the day. This one, I think I could even see myself maybe upgrading to 1.5 or 2 units. I mean, this has been a Sengun-friendly show for the last couple of years. I mean, even dating back to last season when he was a rookie, right? This guy, he hasn't really quite had the chance to really show off his skill set, the skill set that made him, I believe, the youngest ever Turkish League MVP before he came over. And that was kind of that baby Jokic kind of build, right? That kind of guy that he's not just a rebounder, he's not just a scorer, he's a playmaker, and he can run this offense from that center position. Unfortunately, the Rockets, there's been a lot of criticism about the coaching, and I think that's for good reason. With Kevin Porter Jr. in there, they really didn't give Sengun too much of a chance to actually run the offense from the post. But now that we've seen that injury come in, where now Kevin Porter Jr. isn't there, Jalen Green, he'll be primarily handling the ball because he's their scorer. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Jalen Green. This is not a good passer whatsoever. Even if you look at his college game logs, right? If he was averaging like 3 assists a game down in college, this was never a guy that was looking at spreading the ball out. So they've been turning to Sengun now to run this offense. He's hit this in 6 straight games coming in. He just hit this in the same matchup against the Timberwolves. I see Rudy Gobert is questionable too as well for tonight. I really don't mind it either way, whether he plays or whether he doesn't. But if he does play, that's a huge guy just going to stand right in the paint. We know Sengun, he's taking all of his shots from the paint. That's where he does all of his work. Rudy Gobert, he has a lot of faults. We can all agree with that. He can't go out to the perimeter. He can get targeted in switches. But when he's just defending the rim, when he's right under the paint, he's very good. So I think he's going to force some kickouts for Sengun. He's going to make his life a little bit harder. And if he's not, I think we're going to see exactly what happened last game, which we see a little bit more doubles. We see a little bit more attention, and he's forced to kick out either way. So I really like this spot. I know it's not traditional. When you look at a guy like Sengun, you don't think this is a playmaker. But look up some of those highlights from the Turkish League. This guy was diming out there, and he has some great plays in the NBA. So I like the momentum. 6 straight games coming in. And I think he just keeps it going right here.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Have you been on that Sengun train there, Austin, so far this year?
I've been watching him. Their coaching staff is always weird. Prior to the last 3 games, they hadn't been giving him his normal minutes. But I think it's a pretty telling sign when I think Anthony Edwards on the Timberwolves said a couple weeks ago that they don't prepare for Jalen Green. They look more towards Sengun and trying to game plan for him. So it's a pretty good telltale sign with a star like that. You can at least give props to Sengun, who's been playing really well. I really like him. I think it's a good prop. I looked at that or his rebounds plus assists line, which I think was 16.5 this morning. I think he should crush both of them. Obviously, Gobert probably dictates the rebounds a little bit more than assists, but I really like it. I think it's a good spot.
100%. And I thought you were going to use the quote he used last night, which I think is a lot more applicable to the broader NBA audience, which is, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's a damn good player. So your quote maybe a little bit more.
I didn't see
telling,
that one at all, but I did see him a couple weeks back when I didn't even think they were playing. I think it was their first match of like 3 weeks ago, and that's when he said it. But I didn't see that one. But you're dang right.
Beautiful. And I'll be talking about that game as well. I'll be actually having a same game parlay there over on FanDuel. In that same game, obviously talking about Mr. Anthony Edwards and Jalen Green. And I loved what you talked about there with Jalen Green. He is not a passer. He is not a point guard. Without Kevin Porter Jr. here, he is what I call, I know I bring it up with Jordan Clarkson. I bring it up with a lot of these guys, Bobby Portis. When the ball goes in their hands, it is not coming back out. It's a black hole. It's going up on the rim, and you better be ready to offensive rebound. That's pretty much what's going to happen here. Obviously, the last game was kind of a blowout. We saw 44 points from Anthony Edwards. Obviously, we're seeing him shoot a lot more threes as well, which I really like. And obviously, Jalen Green shoots a ton of threes. That's a good spot to look at here with Minnesota ranking third worst in 3 points made, and Houston ranking last in 3 points allowed so far this year. So we're going to see a lot of balls getting chucked up there. Obviously, I think that helps out Edwards, helps out Russell. Obviously, I don't expect Anthony Edwards to shoot 8 for 16 from 3 again here, but it's not like he's not going to have the opportunity to do that again because they just don't guard the 3 ball well. Obviously, Jalen Green is not known for his defense. Neither is Anthony Edwards. And Green, before this last game where they got blown out, he didn't get that same amount of run. We saw him in his last 10 games averaging 22 points per game. I love that he can hit those threes. I like that he's been able to drive. And also, talking about the drives a little bit, we talked about Gobert. Minnesota actually ranks top 10 in terms of, or actually 12 in terms of points per game allowed in the paint. But over their last 3, they've given up 62 points in the paint. Because if you have no Gobert, there's literally no one down there. Naz Reid, you're gonna tell me Naz Reid's gonna try to play defense? No, that guy's out there to play offense and chuck threes and get his run and shine while Towns and Gobert are out. Right, this is his time to shine on the offensive end. There's no rim protection. If Gobert's really out, I'm probably going to be putting a lot more on Green today. Obviously, we're going to see a lot of shots up from these two. I just think volume's really going to help. And who doesn't love a total up there, right? I talked about it a little bit there. 234 total. I think we can see it there. 5.5 spread. When's the last time we've seen the Rockets with a 5.5 spread? Usually it's like 12. Usually they're projected to get blown out here. So hopefully you can stay close. Hopefully it flies over this total, and we can get there with both these guys on volume.
Yeah, no, I like that we got a little bit of mini correlation going right here too. And I think we kind of both believe, especially in that Rockets game, the same kind of thing of a lot of pace, a lot of offense, not much defense, right? We've kind of seen that all year long. And, you know, whether Gobert plays or not, I do think there's plenty of spots to exploit in these couple games. So definitely like this parlay right here. I like bringing the odds down a little bit, you know, and getting 2 guys that we know are going to have tons of volume.
And the fact that Green, coming off probably one of his worst games of the year, scoring 10 points, 6 turnovers, and the Bucks didn't even flinch on his regular points line at 25.5, kept it the exact same. Only when I see stuff like that, it's like, all right, they kind of know this guy's got to bounce back. So I bet he at least gets 20, maybe even 30 tonight. So I like it.
So, and you actually reminded me of something before we move on. You mentioned bounce back, right? I know PPS has the flag behind him. I'm kind of curious what both of you think. What do you think about Giannis, right? Coming back in, if you look at his game logs, I don't think you'd actually believe that that is Giannis over his last 5. I mean, 2 games under 10 points, something like that? Just some lower production, some injury issues. Now we have Middleton come back. Do either of you guys have a strong take on Giannis?
Giannis is an interesting one tonight. I'm avoiding his props just because I don't know his status. But I imagine if he's out there, they're not worried about his minutes. They're not worried about his knee. So I anticipate he's probable. I saw Chris Middleton probable. That made me take Drew Holiday's under in points, which was 22.5 this morning. I don't know why. Now it's down to like 19.5, which is why I didn't give it out on the show. But yeah, I don't know. Giannis is weird, but I anticipate him being fine. But yeah, you're right. The last couple games when he's scoring like 7 and 10, 10 points, you're like, what the heck? This isn't Giannis. This is Thanasis and Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, my biggest thing is Giannis doesn't like sit usually. Like we never really see him sit. And the fact that he missed 3 games in a row is pretty telling. I think that they obviously downplayed it in the media, but Giannis just doesn't miss games. So obviously something must be up with him. But dude, Isaiah Stewart's out. Like, what are you're gonna tell me Nerlens Noel's gonna match up with this man, or Jalen Duren? Come on, dude. I would take Jalen Duren over 5.5 fouls. That man's gonna be fouled out by the second quarter, dude. If Giannis is deciding he wants to go to the hoop, man, there's no rim protection. Like Nerlens Noel's gonna get minutes here. Bagley's still out. Like this, there's just no bigs here. I mean, even if you want Bobby Portis would just destroy these guys too. I mean, the only thing that worries me, 12-point spread, it's probably going to get bigger as the day goes on. I've watched a lot of these games, obviously, as a Bucks fan, and they blow out the Pistons. Like they are usually 20-point games. So
yeah,
I think the unders are good looks in terms of blowout potential here. And I like that Drew one because he's been playing so many minutes without both of these guys. And when they're back, probably going to tone that back to more around that 32, 33-minute mark where they usually are with him anyway.
Yeah, well, but he's been killing it.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I mean, I think the minutes definitely matter. You got to remember they're humans, right, at the end of the day. But also, I want to point out real quick before we move on, I saw our guy Jay post this on Twitter, actually. Giannis's numbers in wins of 10+ are really good this season. Like in blowouts, he's averaging well over 30 points so far this season. So it's kind of that thing we always talk about of when it is a blowout, someone's got to get him to that point, right? Someone's and it's clearly Giannis is that guy. So for me, I think I might be looking at that free throw market on Prize Picks. I talk about, so I don't know if you experiment that much with Prize Picks, Austin, but I love those free throws, man. It's so fun. It's kind of a different way to bet on it. And I don't know if his line is pretty reasonable tonight. I think I could get there a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't messed a lot with the free throws, but I have seen a lot of people take them, which is, that's an interesting market. Yeah, because I imagine they'll just be hacking him. He comes even near the paint. They're just going to hack him and hope for the best. Live with him making 2.
Perfect. We got some questions in the chat here. I will pop over. Eddie's got his 2 Prize Pick plays. I guess if we look here, is there a spot where you're not confident in these? Obviously, we've talked about Pirtle. Austin's already talked about Pirtle there. I kind of mentioned D'Angelo Russell in the terms of Houston allows so many threes. I will never back an under on the threes against Houston. So I guess it comes down to Wendell Carter Jr. rebounds and Murray rebounds and assist line. Are either one of those, which one do you like better? Which one is the spot that you like better of those ones?
Let's see. That's interesting. I mean, I think for me, I have not been betting on the Magic a lot recently. I can't speak for it. Like they have so many guys that they just interchange. They have so many different lineups they can go to. So Carter has been one of the more dependable guys. But for me, I have to say he does scare me a little bit just with the general uncertainty with that lineup right there. So I would say I like Murray a little bit more in that matchup where we know it's going to be closer. We know he's probably going to have to be doing that distributing, and there's going to be a lot of threes, which means it's going to be long rebound heaven. So I would probably say I like Murray a little bit more. Well, Carter, I don't know. Any Magic player you put in front of me right now will probably scare me a little bit.
I'm in that same boat. I really hate the Orlando Magic at the moment, especially with Isaac back now too. Yeah. It's like we got a 15-man rotation every night. It's like the starters play each. I can't do it with that team. But Carter, you're right. Carter's been probably one of the more reliable guys. I've seen a lot of people on Banchero's over in points plus assists tonight. I don't know, but I like obviously Murray's an interesting one. Murray's been crushing it in terms of points, rebounds, and assists. He always just scares me. I have a bad track record with Murray this season though.
Yeah, I mean, this is my thing about the Magic. Does it not seem like they have the biggest roster in the NBA? Like, you think about it, you just look down there, I'm like, he plays. And they got it's like, how do you carry this many people? Like, it just like it keeps going on. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Every other team, about 9 guys because that's the guys that are going to be playing. And these guys are running like 12, 13. Obviously, they just sent RJ Hampton down, but still, it's just crazy. This roster is so long, so deep. And I mean, the only guy I can really ever trust is Banchero because he is young. He's going to play the minutes, and I can't really.
I think the only other team I can think of is the Wizards, but they just lost a key bench piece, so maybe they'll stop playing as many. But even then, the Wizards play 10 men, and they don't even include like Will Barton in there either.
Yeah, that's someone that bets the Wizards. You're completely right. I think we're probably the only other team that's just rotating 8. I mean, our first-round pick, our 9th overall pick, Johnny Davis, who fucking sucks, by the way, is down in the G League just wasting all of his time. Like, it's the same thing. But even we actually stopped playing Will Barton, which is good for my eyes. The Magic don't even do that. They'll send RJ Hampton down to the G League, bring him back up, and then play him for 11 minutes in that next game. Like, it's actually insane. So I think the general consensus right here is we're all just a little bit nervous. I mean, there's so many guys to bet on any given night. That just going to the Magic is one of those things that always worries me. Unless they're playing like a bottom tier team, then I'll go for some Magic guys.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I can touch on this one a little bit there. I'm not going to be playing that one specifically. I actually just posted my YouTube play of the day video about 45 minutes ago. I'm on the rebounds assist over there. So I think that's a little bit safer for me just because if you're going to play that, why not just take his triple double at that point? You know, like if you're going to bet that, might as well get the extra dollar, right? Again, plus 220, at least on FanDuel for a triple double. I think that would be probably my option. I mean, you might as well get the most out of your buck there, at least in my opinion.
100%.
Aaron, I will be talking about him shortly. So hold on to that one. I'll be talking about him in probably about 15 minutes. So hang on there. We'll get to my boy Nicola there. So I will actually be kicking it over to Austin for a same game parlay that I love. We just talked about this game a little bit and how much we hate the Magic. Well, we don't hate the Celtics.
Yeah, I really like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum both to get 25 tonight. It's a little minus 110, about even odds. I think FanDuel might be a little bit more juice, but you can just chuck in like them to knock down a 3 or 2 and get much better value. Now, big news that Marcus Smart's out. I don't know how long he's out. Malcolm Brogdon also out due to personal injury. And so I'm like, who else is going to score the basketball for this team? Robert Williams might not even play. So I just look at these two guys. Tatum's gotten 25 or more, I think, in 37 of 44 games this year. So a remarkable hit rate. He's always getting that done. And then Jaylen Brown, his line's like 27.5, 28.5. He's hit 25. Jaylen Brown's like a weird guy that I don't know if you guys have ever experienced where you take, I think last year I did some science experiments where you took like a guy's over at like alt over at like 20.5, but his alt under at like 31.5 and just hoped he landed in the middle. That's Jaylen Brown for you. He's always in that same 20 to 30, 32 kind of range. And I think with the guys limited, he's going to have enough field goal attempts. The Magic, as we talked about, don't really have great defenders and they play so many guys. You don't really see any guy come out there and guard one guy the whole game long. So I think both guys score 25 or more. I think it's pretty no brainer. I'm not going to overthink it. They should be able to get that done.
I like the spot. I do. I really like teams that have very concentrated offenses, right? Where we know who's going to score the ball. And even on a regular day, the answer would be Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. But like you said, now we have two guards that are definitely shoot for, Brogdon, not as much at this point. Marcus Smart and Brogdon, two guys that we know can go out there and score 15 to 20 points taken out. Now a guy like Derek White, who has clearly not been in that role over the last couple of seasons, much more of a defensive specialist, much more of a playmaker kind of role right there. So I just think it sets the table even more for a guy like both Brown and Tatum to just continue to do what they would do. I like taking bets, the way I look at it, I like taking alt lines where if a guy doesn't have a good game, they can still hit this number. I think that's true for both these guys right here.
Yeah, Tatum could walk his way into 25 on some free throw attempts and stuff like that. Brown is a little bit more like you need okay, you can't be shooting 5 for 20, but yeah, I agree with you. Both these two guys are going to shoot 20 times tonight, and they're NBA players. They should be able to knock down some shots. At least I hope so.
Yes, that's a lot of usage too, and I mean that's a lot of bench minutes as well. So maybe we see Brown get a few extra minutes without Tatum on the court too, which is obviously when you see Jaylen Brown do a lot of his work. My favorite part is I don't know if you've been on like DFS and stuff. Jaylen Brown is always like the top when he plays at 6 o'clock. He's always like the top 2 players for fantasy points in like the first quarter. And then Jason Tatum's like, all right, we'll start shooting now. So Jaylen Brown gets like 15 in like the first 10, 15 points in the first. Then Tatum starts going off. And if we get that, we have a lot of these dudes out, a lot of shots to go around. And I'm going to guess we're not going to see Al Horford chucking 20 shots. We're not going to be seeing all these low usage guys, Grant Williams, right? A lot of low usage guys that kind of just fit as those role players. But you got your 2 superstars in a matchup that's plus matchup, dude. I love this spot. I think that minus 110 is a great line for it. Now we get to some plus money. Another SGP here. I love it. Actually, not SGP, though.
Yep, I ran John Morant, Lauri Markkanen, both 25 plus points, plus 135. Ran this one for half a unit. You can do this combo on FanDuel. I believe you should also be able to do it on DraftKings, although I haven't checked the price over there quite yet. And you actually did something that I'm very glad you mentioned with that kind of science experiment kind of thing, because I was talking about this right before the show started, of a guy that is always in that very consistent range. And Lauri Markkanen has absolutely been that guy, one of the favorites for, most improved players so far this year, taking on a much higher usage in this new situation. And I saw this very cool stat from my guy, Benny Riccardi over at FTN. Since December 15th, Lauri hasn't scored less than 21 points. That's crazy, right? That is pure consistency, day in and day out, having some high-level usage coming in. And now that doesn't even account for bad matchups, right? Laurie is a guy that these physical power forwards can really get to him, right? This is a much better matchup against a Hornets team that we know has struggled on the defensive side all year long. When you actually look at their splits too, when they had LaMelo in, that defense just gets much worse, right? The pace gets a little up. When you look at the first half of the season, they were actually a little bit better, but it kind of evens out now that you look at those more recent splits. I just think this is such a good matchup. There's no one that I really think can alter the way he wants to play too much. He's going to be in that mid-range. He's going to get to the paint every once in a while. No one's really too scared of Plumlee down there, but he's just going to work in his mid-range, get those outside shots. I love the consistency. I love that he's always in those mid-20s and asking for 25 points. I really don't think it's too much to ask, especially when we get this plus money. As for John Morant, I think this one's a lot easier to explain. We get a great high-paced matchup against the Kings. They've been top 5 in points in the paint allowed all season long. We love Sabonis here, right? This is a very Sabonis-friendly show, but the clear lacking part of his game is the rim protection, right? That's why he was the 4 with Miles Turner over there, right? Because they knew what they loved on the offensive side of the ball. They needed someone to supplement that on the defensive side of the ball. The Kings, they don't quite play like that. They said, you know what? Let's embrace this. Let's turn up the energy a little bit. Let's play a little bit faster right here. And I think that just fits so perfectly with Ja's play style, averaging 30 points so far this season against them already. His lines, I was going to bet it just at 27 even, but it's been moving up all day long. Now it's up to 28.5. So I kind of like this alt line. I like getting the plus money on 2 guys that I know are going to have the volume, right? These are 2 guys that have been top 10 in their respective usages all season long. They're both going to get those shots up, 17 to 25 shots. We know Ja can get to the free throw line. I just think these are 2 very dependable guys. To get them combined at plus 135 is definitely something that's worth half a unit for me.
Yeah, you never have to worry about me wanting to back Mr. Lauri Markkanen. I was just actually kind of looking at what his numbers were without Kelly Olynyk, because a lot of people don't realize that that's huge for him. And Kelly Olynyk's still out. Obviously, the biggest guy taking the step up is probably Walker Kessler in terms of minutes. He's been just going crazy. But Lauri gets so many more shots with him. Obviously, you get a lot more run. We've seen his minutes just fly up. And, he's taking over that number 1 role there. We were talking about Jordan Clarkson earlier, but Lauri Markkanen is definitely taking that step up. I love Lauri. I back him a lot. So you have no issues from me here back in this one. Obviously, Ja will get his job done there for sure.
Yeah, Lauri's been getting a lot of respect. He's really crushing it. Last game he didn't get any free throw attempts, which I found a little bit odd. Kind of settled for a lot of threes, so maybe attacks the rim a little bit more. And then I'm not doing my ladder challenge thing today, but if I were, Ja Morant was probably going to be in there in some capacity, at least for 20 points, because you're right. The Kings don't play an ounce of defense. They just let SGA drop like 36 on them. And Jaws are going to be relentless, especially last game. He started off really slow. I would not be surprised to see if Jaws scores 12 to 15 points in the first quarter. I think only like 2 points at halftime or something close to halftime last night when they lost to the Suns.
Yeah.
And I was just going to bring up a thing to back you because I just wanted to make sure I had those numbers right. In 8 games without Kelly Olynyk so far this year, Lauri Markkanen 28 and 10 in those games. Obviously, that's just – I knew the number was somewhere there. I don't have the full usage, but obviously to get 25 in this one, we've seen a 38, we've seen 32, we've seen pretty consistent numbers here, and maybe a double-double as a sprinkle here in this one as well, maybe if that's at plus money.
Yeah, I may have a little bit of Lauri rebound PTSD from his former days. I mean, one of my favorite things when he was on the Bulls, I was betting his under 3.5 rebounds, which is so funny for a guy that big that was just sitting out on the corner. But it kind of speaks to how much he's improved since then, and that he's all over the place right now.
Beautiful. And talking about the Bulls there, hey, that was beautiful, Stu. That was a great transition. I know you tried to do that. I know it's just that's that performance, man. It's game time ready. I'm going Nikola Vucevic minus 108, over 29.5 points, rebounds at minus 108 here. And we talk about the Hawks against centers all the time, and it's a spot that we love to attack. Obviously, Clint Capella is now back, which I actually really like. I love having Clint Capella out there because he does one job, right? Protect the rim, stand under there. I don't think I've ever seen Clint Capella shoot a 3, so I think that's obviously a good spot here for us here too. But in terms of rebounding, Atlanta is one of the worst in terms of rebounding. Rebounding allowed, second worst. Defensive rebounds allowed, second worst. And they're actually 8th worst in terms of offensive rebounding, which I think is the most important for Nikola Vucevic. He's been on an absolute tear. We've seen his usage explode here as well. But we've seen him clear 10 rebounds in every single one of these games that he's had here. 13.6 rebounds per game in the month of January to go along with 21 points. I can't get away from this number. He's just climbing on every single one of like your fantasy basketball. He's been on my team. He's just been nuts. He's just killing the rebounding game for me. And pretty much don't have to really do anything else with him, right? He had 31. He only scored 16 last game, right? He had 15 boards. Obviously, we have the ability to pop off in either one of those stats, which is what I like. We talk about that all the time when we talk about points, rebounds, assists. We don't take those numbers. Any one of them can crush their line. Like I said, we've seen a 15 rebound game from Vucevic last time. I wouldn't be surprised to see that higher in this fast-paced matchup. He's going to be standing underneath the rim a lot, and I think that we're going to see him facing off against Okongwu or Clint Capella. Neither one of them are going to be standing on the outside. So sign me up. Love having both options here against a team that struggles in the paint.
Yeah, I know something you like to talk about a lot on here is like the rebound distance aspect, right? How close are these rebounders to the rim? And Clint Capella is the ultimate example of someone who just keeps you glued to the rim because you can't just leave him down there. He's going to grab every single rebound. Like you said, he does two things. He protects the rim and grabs those rebounds. So it's a great matchup for Vucevic for the rebounding side. And then on the other side, like you said, he protects the rim. Vucevic isn't like a Jakob Poeltl who's only kind of finishing at the rim, right? That's mostly his job, and that's why you like to take advantage of it in that matchup against a bad, rim protecting team. This is the opposite. Vucevic is getting all those points in the kind of mid-range, the slightly outside of the restricted area. He stretches the floor sometimes and knocks down the threes. We're seeing a lot more jump shots. And frankly, Capella he's going to play that drop. He's going to revert back to the paint and he's going to leave that little mid-range area for Vucevic, which we know he loves to work in. So I think this is a great spot. Honestly, I hate betting on Vucevic. I really do. Like, he's so annoying. Like, I just watch him play sometimes too. But he has been very good to us on the show so far. And I do think we've been betting against the Hawks a lot. So I like to continue that good mojo into this bet right here.
Yeah, I like it as well. I took Vucevic right when they were out in London or whatever, and he did pretty well in that game. I took his PRA line. He got that done. He had like 30 at halftime, then barely got it done, but he got it done nonetheless. And you're right. And I think they've really gotten rid of Andre Drummond off the bench, which I think has really increased his minutes. Like, Drummond was like an annoying 15-minute guy that you're like, oh, he's in again. And then you see Drummond with like 12 and 12, and you're like, I got to have those numbers with Vooch. And now they've kind of given him that, and we're playing him a little bit more with the second unit. I think it's a pretty good one. He could drop 30 tonight in just points, but you're right. He could go out there and get 15 and 15, and then you've cashed out.
Love it. Love to hear that you guys are on the same page there as well. Let's take a look here. I do not believe we have any other questions here. Actually, I just Aaron, I know I mentioned this. I just got to that. I would prefer just points rebounds, but I like the points there. But the rebounds has just been nuts, dude. He's just been grabbing everything down there. And Levine ain't down there fighting for boards. Their high usage guys aren't fighting for those rebounds like Vucevic is. And we love these center matchups where the center's underneath. So it's tough for me to get away from that. I just want rebounds in there for sure, just with how bad the Hawks are against him. One thing I do want to plug there a little bit before we get to our recap is we're doing the DraftKings contest for tonight. Free contest. I think I'm sending 25 out to the top two people. Obviously, just shout out supporting the show, having a great guest on today. A lot of people hopefully are able to tune in and get all 6 of these plays. So hopefully you guys are jump into that contest. The description has the link for that. It's only invite only, so you can only get it if you're tuning in. It's in the bottom description there as well. So make sure you tune in for that. Make sure you jump in on that. See if you can beat Stu. I mean, we don't have I don't think the Wizards are on the slate tonight, so at least we know he'll have not a 5-man Wizard stack, in NBA.
Yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that. I'm not a huge follower of that team. I'm not too, I don't even really know who's going to be starting anymore. But I will be, LeBron when he plays. I'll obviously be getting him out there. Not today. We'll have to get creative, find a good DraftKings lineup. But yeah, definitely tune in. We're having a lot of fun with those for the NFL. A little bit earlier in the year with those, just in-house contests, right? Where it's just us. You're not going against these sharks that have 5,000 different optimizers that are spending every single second until lock, tweaking their lineup. I'm going to throw in, maybe we get some Drummond down there for fun. Maybe we mix it up a little bit. I like having fun when I play DFS. So I think it'll be a good time. We'll see, maybe calling our shot. Maybe you'll give us a run for our money. We'll see if you got some DFS knowledge hidden.
Definitely not my expertise, but you never know.
Hey, as long as you beat Stu, right? But we just don't have Washington, which sucks because he would just throw like 4 of them in there for no reason and be like Obviously, the only guy who wouldn't be making it is Will Barton, because I know the amount of hate that Stu has for Will Barton is like upwards of like mine for Mike McCarthy. Like it's up there. So I get it.
Yeah, Delon Wright would be starting, no doubt. I love those steals. I'd be going Delon Wright 100. I don't even care if he scores 2 points. Give me, 4 steals or something like that, and I'm happy.
Love it. All right, well, let's get to our recap here. Obviously, we have all of the plays below in our cool little ticker down there. The production value, it's right there. So we will do our quick recap. I'll start with you, Stu. We'll go to Austin. I'll throw my last one in there. And then it's long shot time. We know you guys love those long shots, so we'll have those coming up here in a second. But let's get the recap out for you guys here. We'll start out with Stu here.
Yep, I started out definitely my favorite play of the game or of the day so far. We're going Sengun over 5.5 assists for the Rockets a little bit later today. And then I went with a half unit same game parlay, getting some nice plus 135 right here. John Morant, Lauri Markkanen, both to record 25 points tonight.
And in my first play, I was going to go with Jakob Poeltl over 12.5 points. I think he's a really great matchup, so I think he gets that done. My second play was Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Both of them scored 25 apiece, minus 110. I'll take a shot at it.
Beautiful. I'll be heading to my boy Nikola Vucevic over 29.5 points plus rebounds at minus 108. And then Mr. Anthony Edwards in a same game parlay with my guy Jalen Green, minus 110 over on FanDuel. All right, Austin, we'll kick it to you first to start us off. We talked a little bit about Vucevic in this game, but I do like this spot at plus money here.
Yes, I'm going John Collins double-double. I haven't given this out anywhere, and I won't give it out anywhere after this show. So this is just an exclusive for the show. But I looked at John Collins. I wanted his props this morning for my video, and they didn't have any props out for him, but that's okay. I think the double-double is an interesting line for him. Now, he hasn't had a double-double since like January 4th or 5th, so one could say he's due. But also John Collins, I think about he can get us 10 points. If he can get us to that, then we just need 10 rebounds because I got to be honest, he's not getting 10 assists. Sorry, guys. But 10 rebounds, I look at who he's probably going to guard. He's not guarding DeRozan. He's not going to guard Vucevic, as you talked about, shoots outside. And maybe Capella just goes in late, contests a lot of Vucevic's, jump shots. And we see John Collins being the primary guy down in the paint, because he's likely guarding Patrick Williams, who literally does nothing on offense. They don't pass it to him. So I look at Collins. He could luck his way into 10 rebounds. He's had several games where he had 9 rebounds to getting really close to it. And I think he can get 10 and 10 and plus 290. I'll take a stab at it.
Beautiful. Yeah, you can definitely see him get center minutes. I think that we could actually see Capella maybe get played off the floor by Vucevic because it's just a tough matchup. But hey, I love the Patrick Williams hype there. I love that because he literally does absolutely nothing.
He's a great defender. I got to give Patrick Williams credit. He's really stepped up defensively this year. But yeah, they just with DeRozan and Levine out there, it's like, sorry, guy, go get offensive rebounds. We ain't passing you the ball. Very Jalen Green-esque.
Yeah, no, I love the logic right there too. I mean, I long shots. A lot of the time, people kind of, there's a like a lot of guessing involved. But I think you bring up a good point. A lot of these double performances kind of come from when those centers overcommit, and then those help side guys just get those rebounds. Why does Giannis, dominate in all these rebounding matchups against good centers? It's because Brook Lopez is going out to contest, and he's standing right there for the help side board. And like you mentioned, Williams, pretty much a 0 on offense. I'm not sure what his 2K rating is over there, but I'm sure it's not too high.
Love it. Well, I think I'm next because I don't have a long shot for you, Stu. So
coming up,
I will be going to Jalen Green. I talked about him earlier already in this matchup, but we love backing players against this Minnesota team for 3-pointers. We talk about him a lot. I've actually played against them quite a bit here, but the Timberwolves third worst in three-pointers made so far this year, 4th worst in 3-point percentage allowed. So not only are they shooting a lot against them from the 3-point line, they're scoring a lot against them, and they're not defending them. So highest usage on this team without Porter. I think this could be – we could see Jalen Green shoot the ball 30 times. So far this month, he's got 4 games where he shot over 10 threes in the game. So – if he's hot, man. He hits one, and you're going to see that ball up probably every time he touches it. Hopefully it's from Sengun assists, kicking it out there for all 6 of those assists, going to Jalen Green, popping those threes out there. So hopefully we're able to get that. And we'll get Austin back on here for the last portion of it. But, Stu, you got to tell me, what's your long shot, my man?
Yep. So the thing is, I was deciding between some kings, but I'm going Keegan Murray to hit 4 threes at plus 320 on FanDuel right now. I'll have to line shop it, see if there's anything a little bit better out there, but that's the best I saw on first glance. Keegan Murray is playing his best basketball ever. I mean, it's not too hard to say he's a rookie, but he's playing great basketball. 49% from three this month. 49%. That's not a typo. That's not a mistake. He's averaging 3.6 3-point made on 49% shooting so far. We talked all day long about Sabonis. I saw we had the question earlier. We talked about the triple-double. Sabonis has got to be hooking somebody up, and we have so many perimeter shooters that are playing great right now. I like the odds on Murray. He's playing great basketball, having some of his best career games. I see our guy Jack in there, Keegan Murray fan, 100% endorses it. I love to see it. I think the shots are going to be there. He's playing his best basketball. And yeah, Sabonis has got to get those assists to somebody. So if we think that triple-double is coming, then I definitely think Keegan Murray will be one of the recipients on the outside.
Yeah, and you can't just leave him because you have Kevin Huerter in the corner and he's been sniping as well. So it's pick your poison. I talked about it in my video earlier about Sabonis. All you have to do, get that ball to Sabonis at the high post. He turns and finds who's open, right? So it's usually been Keegan Murray because everybody's got to go over to Kevin Huerter in the corner. You can't just leave him there or else he's just going to snipe him. So, and you still have De'Aaron Fox at the top of the key yet. So there's so many different options. They all fit so perfectly with Sabonis. And obviously one of them is going to be having a huge game. That's usually how it goes with these Kings. So hopefully it continues to be Keegan Murray.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened to my internet there or what happened, but I do like the Jalen Green, Keegan Murray props. They both are very solid. Two guys that just shoot threes in the last one. I'm rooting for you boys.
Hell
Awesome.
yeah. And I mean, too, this is one of those, our guy Terrence is always putting together the 8,000 to 1 parlay together. But when you have three odds like this, you can head a little, round robin where you can still be profitable if only 2 or 3 go, still get some nice plus money involved. So I like all 3 of our spots. I'll be throwing in a little round robin later today. Let's hope we get some threes and rebounds, baby.
Heck yeah.
I'm truly surprised that no one has posted what the odds are together yet. Usually that's within 5 seconds after the third one is posted because we have some guys who love those big numbers. So I'm surprised with you guys. I know you guys are usually always right on top of it. 86 plus 8,600 or plus 9,200. I'm usually seeing that immediately. Oh, there we go. All right. Terrence is in a meeting. He snuck on. Hey, that's a grind right there, man. He's a grinder. I love that Gruden grind. And even during meetings, trying to get in these picks, you got to love that effort there. So before we get out, we got all of our plays, 6 props for you guys, 3 long shots from us. Austin, we appreciate you popping on here. Where can people find you? Obviously, you've been popping off, so we want to have people come find you if they haven't seen you already, which I'm assuming they probably have.
Yeah, if you haven't, then at Calling Our Shot, just go to YouTube or TikTok or Twitter or Instagram. I'm the same on all those platforms. So I appreciate you guys for having me on. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully we gave out a lot of winners, and hopefully people can make some money tonight. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, man. And I mean, too, shout out to all the people watching right now, all the great comments. I've seen a ton of them. And the reason that Calling Our Shot is even on is because our guy Chris last week posted in the comments, get Calling Our Shot on here. He's been killing it over there. And we were like, of course, why didn't we think of that ourselves? So if you have any suggestions, make sure to drop them. But we appreciate all you guys for obviously making this possible. And I did check the date. Calling Our Shot was last on this show, December of 2021. So it's been a little while. It's been a little bit, but I'm glad that we could obviously make it happen once again. I like to see that we're all kind of going in this upward trajectory, and hopefully it just keeps going up.
Damn, Pass the Prop's been going on that long. Damn, dude. I didn't know I was hanging out with Stu for that long.
I'm so sorry. If you need help, and you know where to go.
Yeah, no, I know way too much about Washington sports. I love fading the Washington sports just for this here. So we have Blackbeard. Appreciate you dropping this on there. 71 to 1. Hey, I've spent $10 on worse things, my guy. So I will definitely be throwing those all together. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. All you guys, we still got 30 of you guys in here live, which is awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in this whole time. 50 minutes. We're right where we want to be. But again, thank you, Austin, again for popping on. We'll have to get you guys back on here soon. And we'll be back at it again Wednesday for another show. And hopefully we're talking about a 6-0 sweep from today's show. So have a good one, guys. Best of luck. And again, Austin, thank you for joining us for Pass.
Sure, guys. Thank you.